Hi, this is Sheila Boynton, President and CEO of Learning Blade, and today I am joined by Cynthia Bewley from the great state of Idaho at Idaho Science and Technology Charter School. And Cynthia has been using Learning Blade this year in her school, and so we wanted to learn a little bit more about how she's been using it. So we invited her today to share a little bit of information about what classes, et cetera, that she's been using it. So welcome, Cynthia, to our Learning Blade family, and thank you so much for all the work that you're doing to increase STEM career awareness for students. Cynthia, can you tell us a little bit about the classes specifically that you have found fit very nicely with the Learning Blade platform?
Okay, I wrote a grant for the Learning Blade license from the Idaho STEM Action Center in Boise, Idaho. And when I received the grant, I looked at all the 12 missions that are available, and I divided the missions in classrooms that I thought would apply because everybody's strapped on time, and we'd like to get our STEM education featured, but we also have our standards and everything else. But these complement what we do. So on the missions, I have a computer science teacher and a robotics teacher, and so I used Rescue Robot and Hack Attack in their classes. For life science, for 7th grade, they could use the flu outbreak, fresh food, heart surgery missions, and earth science could use energy sources. I teach 6th grade science projects and 7th to 8th grade applied science class, and so all of the things like lightweight aircraft manufacturing, concept car, dolphin rescue, transportation congestion, those fit well with what my students were doing. So it just is a program that complements and is easy to do, and it doesn't take very much time during the class period. They could do it for 15 minutes, they could do it for an entire class period for several weeks, or it could be a home work assignment where they started in class and then they finish it. And the program is set up so well that you can check the progress of your students, because when you sign the class up, you can see how they're progressing, and you can tell them, hey, I noticed that you've only got this much done, and this is our deadline. So it's really easy for what's the word I'm looking for management.
Integration, et cetera, yeah, with what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah, and that's very interesting to hear. You know, I think one of the big points that a lot of teachers are afraid of is that, you know, this is going to take away valuable time from what you're trying to do, but I think you've spoken to the fact that this, you know, really complements and supports the efforts that you're doing. Can you speak a little bit about, you were talking a little bit about how this actually will help with some of the work that you are doing to prepare your students for the standardized assessment in Idaho?
Well, as the students progress through the missions, they read samples, and then they have to verify that they understood, and their questioning is basically the same as what we do as our ISAT testing. And so we thought it was very beneficial for the students to experience that, because that prepared them to actually figure out where those important parts are. And it also gave them 3 chances. So if they didn't get it the first time, it wasn't the last time they saw that. They would refer back to the reading, and then they would try it again, and it would give them hints. So it really helped with their thinking process, and it was just a natural thing to do because that was how the mission was set up.
And that's great to hear, because, you know, with Learning Blade, we do offer the informational text, and, you know, you sort of concurring that that is helping to prepare students for standardized assessments is very important. And obviously there is the ability to pull those results against the Idaho standards as well that can be very powerful. Also, could you speak to the fact that, you know, besides having the great online lessons that allows your teachers to integrate this differently in their classrooms, you spoke a little bit about our newest feature, which is some of our 3D printing lessons and how those are assisting with what you're doing in your 3D program at your charter school.
Yes, with my sixth graders, we make popsicle stick bridges, and they just do Elmer's glue and popsicle sticks. And you have a maker quest that's called a bridge design, and you can 3D print the pieces, and then as they go through their design with the popsicle sticks, they could make what they do and then do the stress test and see which side is going to be more stable, or if they have to change their design into triangles, because we know the triangles are they disperse the energy better so that they're more sturdy. So to teach the kids that, it's nice to have a manipulative, and it's fun for them to be able to 3D print that. The other one that I think we could use in our robotics and our science, computer science class is the code to CAD. Coding is hugely popular right now, and it says you can access the Turtle Blocks coding website, and then you can 3D print their designs. So I did not do that this year, but that is where I'm headed for this next year, because I was able to get the site license for 2 years. So the plans that we started, we have, and in addition to those, so we can be more effective with our students. And the other one I really like is that prosthetic one, the Maker Quest. I think students were really excited when they said, you know, different schools could even 3D print a prosthetic for someone, and it would be cheaper for them than waiting for a $10,000 prosthetic. And they were so excited they wanted to try that this year, but I said, this is our first year we've ever even had 3D printing. So I don't even know how to get on a list that says we could do that or what kind of filament it takes, but it was just neat to be able to show how advanced 3D printing is, and then start them with the prosthetic from your Maker Quest.
Yes, very much so. And, you know, you mentioned coding, you know, the whole idea around computer science and, you know, the work that's going on all across the country. You know, thank you for verifying the fact that, you know, all of these different components are helping to support efforts that are going on within your programs already. And certainly thank you to the Idaho STEM Action Center for their support of the Learning Blade platform for schools in Idaho. As you mentioned, the grant is available. It's very easy to fill out, and we really encourage schools to do that. So if you just were to be talking to a teacher or another school that was thinking about, you know, adopting this, what might be one of the encouraging remarks that you can make to them on, you know, the use of Learning Blade and the ease of use? You mentioned a little bit, but, you know, people are always worried about, you know, is this going to take away classroom time, et cetera? And it seems like you have found it to really complement that. Could you speak to that just again for us, just a minute?
Yes, I believe that Learning Blade, I mean, because I didn't know anything about Learning Blade. I wrote the grant, and I had looked at your website and had been impressed with what you had offered, but I hadn't used it at all. And so getting the grant, and then you think, well, I have to do this because I feel like you know, if I wrote the grant, I need to honor what I said I would do. And it was super easy, even putting in the kids' names and setting up the classes. And actually this year I was administrator and lead teacher, so I did both codes, but it didn't take me very long to input any of the students. And then the teachers that I talked to, it was very easy for them to follow along with how I was setting it up, and then they felt really comfortable. And if we had any issues with someone not being able to log in because they forgot their password, we can fix that here. Plus, we could also have you guys help us with the support line. Yes. So well, I just think the part I think is it is so beneficial to use something that is offered to you for free, that is such a complement to our curriculum. So I would advise all teachers who have a chance to do this to try it. It doesn't cost you anything. It's free for a year, and then you can decide if it benefits what you're doing or if it was worth the time. But don't not try it because you're thinking it might be too hard, because I jumped right in and felt very comfortable right off the bat. And my kids loved it.
Well, thank you so much, Cindy, for your time today and for all that you're doing for Idaho students. I'm sure your students are very lucky to have a passionate and caring teacher like you at your school. So again, this is Sheila Boynton with Learning Blade, and thanks to the Idaho STEM Action Center for their support of Learning Blade. And if you want any further information, you can email us at info@learningblade.com. Thanks so much.